which day did you test positive, and how have you been feeling throughout this week?
Felt better, felt worse. Feel like I have a bad head cold and a bad cough, but um, I'm trying to think what day I tested positive. I don't know. So we'll see. I mean, I've obviously been a lot sicker, so hopefully this passes. And I know the NFL is coming out with new rules about return, so hopefully things clear up here fast.
In addition to your own health, the offense as a whole obviously is juggling COVID, non-COVID related illnesses. How do you even describe the monumental challenge of piecing together a game plan with so much uncertainty involved?
Well, you know, if it wasn't COVID, I'd be taking a lot of cold medicine and sucking it up and going to work, you know, like we've all done in the past. I mean, but obviously with COVID, we're not allowed to do that. So I think you'll find the players to do the same thing. I think they're committed to playing and committed to winning. So if they're not being held out, I think they're going to show up to work and do what they have to do to get ready to play the game. I mean, I think, you know, we go through these things. It seems like it's a historically high time across the country right now, but you know, these guys are pros. I think they're going to show up to play if they're allowed.
Next question, Pat Finley.
Hey, Bill. What has the chain of communication been like with you this week in terms of staying plugged in? Do you watch practice live? Do you just watch the film when it's done? How are you staying involved?
Well, I think after what happened last year, it's a lot easier for all of us to stay plugged in. And the NFL is requiring a lot of our meetings to be online for everyone right now. So really that kind of keeps me unfortunately right in line with how everyone is. So no different than when Coach Nagy was out. I mean, we're all way more able to be plugged in and involved in all the game planning meetings and involved in the player meetings than we would have 2 years ago.
In terms of practice, do you watch live or afterwards?
After.
Next question, Kevin Fishbane.
Hey, Bill. Matt talked about how impressed he was with Justin's decision making, considering how often he was pressured on something. And I'm wondering what you kind of took away in terms of signs of progress from him, in terms of how he handled what the Packers threw at him.
Yeah, you know, sometimes during the game, it's not as easy for me to see exactly all the little amounts of pressure that he gets hit with. From sitting upstairs, if I'm watching the coverage, I'm watching the defense, I'm watching the routes, it's hard to see it all at once. I do think he was pressured quite a bit and handled it well. And you know, it's a challenge for every quarterback. I think he's very much in control of what's happening. I think he can come to the sideline and tell us what he saw, why he did what he did. Maybe afterwards he, like any quarterback, would say, well, maybe I wish I would have done this or that different. But with Justin, it's never a matter of he didn't see what happened. And to me, that's a great sign, because all guys are different. But to be able to perceive what's happening physically and process it mentally, it's a hard thing to change if a guy can't do it, but Justin can do it. So to me, it gives me great hope that his decisions will continue to grow the way we want them to.
Next question, Hub Arkash.
Bill, I certainly hope you're feeling better soon, most
Thanks.
importantly. And now living through this, having to deal with this, and I know it's the same for the entire league, but do you have any thoughts on how the league has handled it? Anything you might have done differently? Is there anything you wish you had done differently in this situation?
No, for me, no. I've gotten my booster shot, which I believe in, the science of getting protected. I know I've been exposed to it before because I've been a close contact in the past. And, you know, obviously my body's resisted getting infected by it. So I think I've done what I can do. I think I won't say I'm perfect. I think I do a pretty good job following the rules, wearing a mask. You know, I just think, I think we have to take all the information in and do our best with it. So I think I probably sound, I don't know, it's hard to tell how you sound. I probably sound bad right now. You know, I feel okay.
No, you don't sound terrible. You look like you're frustrated. Is what it amounts
I
to.
am. It's hard. I've been trying to do some of the work, like someone had asked earlier about staying plugged in. I mean, some of the work is a lot easier to do when you're in the building together. So it's a little bit frustrating, the organization of practice and getting cards ready and the scout team ready. And if an adjustment gets made, to text it out so that everyone gets it on the staff, or you can go down the hallway and do it a lot easier than you can, when you're not in the building. So yeah, no, it's I'd say it's frustrating, but there's not much I can do about it.
I'm just curious, though, as far as there's a lot of talk about this in Cleveland and Washington, the competitive aspect of it. Do you think maybe the league should consider trying to postpone or reschedule some of these games to make sure everybody gets to play at 100%? I know it's the same for everybody, but any thoughts on how it impacts just the league in general?
I haven't thought about it because I assume they won't.
Next question, Alex Shapiro.
Hey, Bill, to start real quick, do you know if you're going to have live reps in practice today, or is it going to be another day of walkthroughs?
I'll let Matt answer that.
Okay. In terms of Tevin Jenkins, kind of put in a tough position, coming in with not many reps, if any at all. If Jason Peters isn't good to go, are there any special things you can do to get him ready now that, again, yesterday you had walkthroughs? It might be more walkthroughs going forward to kind of get him acclimated as quickly as possible.
Well, number one, a lot of it's on Tevin. He was drafted where he was drafted because we believe in him and his ability, and that hasn't changed. But if the practice is a walkthrough and if Tevin feels like he needs to get full speed reps, we've got plenty of space available for him to grab guys and help him with that, and he can do that, and he understands what it takes. I think he's not even though he hasn't been able to do everything. He's been around, he's watched, he's seen how these other guys who are real pros prepare. And so I think a lot of it's on him, but certainly with Coach Castillo, I mean, he has great direction in what it takes. And I have high expectations for Tevin. We make no excuses about how we play. So that's both as a team and for a player. The fact that he really hasn't been able to practice with pads on in the NFL, that's life, and he's paid to get a job done. So we expect him to get it done. And I bet you he would tell you he expects to get it done. So my expectations for Tevin don't change. I don't mean to sound harsh, but I think part of building a culture is that wins and that has high expectations is that you set the bar high and you keep the bar there regardless of who's in the game, and you don't change expectations because the backup went in, and it's the backup's job to be ready to step in when it's time. And when Jason went down and Tevin went in, we got to expect the same level of play that we always would. And some people would say that that's unrealistic, but I would say that if that's your mindset, over time, you're going to build the right culture.
All right, time for two more. Next question, Mark Potash.
Bill, during that offensive run last year at the end of last season, one of the more complete offensive games was against the Vikings in Minnesota. And I'm wondering what you thought. What do you recall about what was so effective in that game and why it was so, was it just a good matchup or why was that such a good game offensively against the Vikings on the road?
Well, if you think of their defense right now, one of the things that they're best at is third down. We know Coach Zimmer's always had an extensive third down blitz package. Back for, I think my first NFL game was 2003, and he may have been the defensive coordinator, if I remember correctly, for Coach Parcells in Dallas, right? So he was blitzing back then. So obviously things have adjusted and changed since then, but he's always had a very extensive, very sound, very challenging third down package, and they still do. And so when you look at the game last year, I think one of the things we were able to do is keep our third downs manageable against them. I think we had one double-digit third down and maybe 1 3rd and 7. And so the two best ways to deal with third down are, number one, don't be in it, and number two, keep it a little bit shorter yardage so you don't have to hold the ball, and so you can still have the ability to run the football and keep the defense off balance. So if we can do that now, some of our players have changed, some of what we do has changed a little bit, but however we get there, if we can keep that same philosophy of being great on first and second down, then maybe we can negate their strength, which is third down.
Thank you.
Last question, Sean Hammond.
Hey, Bill. Jakeem Grant, came in here several weeks ago, and obviously he's known for being a really good special teams player. But what have you seen from him in terms of just what has he brought to your offense?
Sometimes when I look up, maybe I'm looking down at the sheet, getting ready for the next series, making sure I kind of have things highlighted I want to have highlighted that we've talked about as a staff between the series. But then usually when the ball's punted, I look up, and when you see him back up and catch it like at the 3-yard line, like all those old, maybe they're old school, all those old school things that I was taught years ago about where you put your feet and don't back up. I mean, those kind of run through my head, but then I think, well, that's who this guy is. He's got this great confidence level and this great attacking mentality. And I think he also brings that to the offense. And I think from the moment he got here, we had watched video of him, and we had a pretty good sense physically what we were getting, and we had hoped to have a plan to work him into the offense. Sometimes it takes a little time, and I think not only does he bring that attacking, aggressive mentality with the football, but he also has proven that he can learn and be part of the offense and find ways to fit in and be out there as a third down receiver, as well as just a quote unquote gadget guy. So he's been real impressive in how he's fit in, and really you have to give him the credit of being able to get worked into the normal offense.
Great. Thank you so much, Coach.
All right. Thanks, everybody.